Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a new comic book review show where we take the comic books of the last week, and then we break them down. We talk about the art, writing, and story, and what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for comics that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up. Also, when there's like a movie or a show or something like that, we also talk about that. Although, we talked a little bit about Peacemaker when it first debuted, but I feel like every week we just be like, hey, the new episode was really dope.
Yeah.
Though I do have a theory about Peacemaker that unfortunately can't leave my craw, thanks to somebody who shared their opinion on the internet. I can't take whole credit for it, but it was it basically ties the opening intro into the plot of the show and kind of gives you like an indication as where the show's going.
I don't want to hear that.
And I was like, oh my god! So rather, I just say watch it. It's easily the best DCEU movie property thing they've ever made.
I love it.
Yeah,
more than I could have ever imagined I would have loved.
No, I like it more than I like the Suicide. I liked the Suicide Squad. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but I like the show more.
I do too.
Right.
I'm glad we had the movie though.
Totally, because
it set it up. It set him up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can totally watch Peacemaker without watching that Suicide Squad movie, but if you do watch the Suicide Squad movie, there's more to his character.
That's right. Couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
But so what we're going to do is there's a bunch of books that came out this past week that we are going to talk about. But rather than just go into every single one of them, we're going to give you kind of like a little bit of a breakdown of all of them. We're going to talk about the art, the writing, and the story, tell you what we thought about all those things. And then at the end, whether we recommend the comic or not. And I don't want to get too deep in the weeds because I don't know. I got into the weeds this weekend. I spent a lot of time reading comics. I read all of Justice League Incarnate. There's one more issue left. But I believe that's Dennis Culver and Joshua Williamson. That book, the most recent issue dropped. That was issue 4. I guess I can talk about that one. But rather, I shouldn't necessarily say because I want to keep it on brand.
Yes.
Justice League Incarnate from Culver and Williamson. This had a number of different artists on the book. This is deliberate. They chose these artists to depict different elements of DC Comics universes and histories and whatnot, so it's all on purpose as opposed to like I don't know 3 or 4 different artists on an Amazing Spider-Man title where you're like you just didn't plan,
right?
Or you pull the rug out from under the writer's feet and force them to change the entire story with only a few months like lead time. In any case, Justice League Incarnate is basically just like do you love DC? You better, because here's the book for you. And I don't want to hear anybody complaining ever again about how like DC is only about Batman, because like that is not what this book is.
Even though the Batman is advertised on the front of it.
The Batman movie, yeah.
Yes.
And they should. There's a Batman movie coming.
I do think it's interesting. Like, we're always pushing that movies should sell the comics.
Yes.
But they're like, but we'll use these comics to sell this movie.
Yes. And let's say the movie sucks. It won't. But like, let's say it did. You've stained the front cover of Justice League Incarnate number 4 forever. Because there's no way that the Batman doesn't have like a full page advertisement in the back cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But we need to put it on the cover.
Yep.
On this book that no one who is reading this book would not know about the Batman movie. But yeah, the art is deliberate and fun. The writing it works. Williamson and Culver seamlessly blend together. They're doing a very nice job working together and telling one cohesive story about many different characters, most of whom I couldn't care less about normally, but makes me care and I find myself on I highly recommend if you get a chance to pick up Justice League Incarnate numbers 1 through 4, read them all at once. Like don't read 1, don't read 4, read 1 through 4.
Yeah, I enjoyed hearing you read this.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
A lot of conversation between you and this book.
Between me and the book, yes. I wish I'd recorded myself just like talking about or reading this book out loud, because that's what I did. It was just ridiculous. But yeah, I recommend it, I guess. Do you love DC? If you don't, you're not gonna get into this book. But it is setting up what's happening and maybe explains what everything is. Also, do you love Grant Morrison? Because DC sure does. I also read Dark Knights of Steel.
Okay.
You mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, and then like I found myself with like 15 minutes, so I was able to read it.
Because you're a fast reader.
I am a
I
fast
could not
reader.
do that.
No, and I also enjoyed the art, but this is Dark Knights of Steel #4 from Tom Taylor, and the art by Bengal. The art is great. It's consistent. It's a mini series that's done by the same creative team every time. There's no complaints whatsoever about the art. The art really services the story and manages to paint a really fun like picture of sword and sorcery, and it really feels that way. You know, like sometimes you're reading it and you'll just forget that you're reading a DC comic about DC heroes. You're actually just reading like a fantasy story.
Right.
I think that really works.
You know what I love is like how Alfred on this cover,
Yeah.
he's wearing a like, curious or curious, whatever they're called. Like,
sure.
It's a chess piece, right?
Yeah.
But he still to me looks like he's wearing a suit.
Yes, of course.
Like he has that simplicity to his character that we are accustomed.
Of course.
His
and
design,
and Alfred actually is the main character of this issue, where it's the entire issue is a flashback that explains the lineage of Bruce Wayne, not his lineage like as far as the Waynes go, but rather just the origins of Bruce Wayne and the origins of his kingdom and how it was bequeathed to the L's and whatnot. Also the origins of the Green Man, which is a fun new villain that was introduced in this book, and we haven't seen the last of them.
Okay.
Really fun ideas. Overall, Tom Taylor, of course, in his wheelhouse. It's out of continuity. It's about the DC heroes, and it gives certain characters an opportunity to shine while also being couched in a Bat book. It all works. Everything about this book is good. And this issue in particular gives us the hope that maybe what they'll do is make like more kind of flashback books that set things up so that the 12 issues don't feel quite so sprawling. So I recommend it. I enjoyed it. What else did you read?
What did I read?
I know there's quite a bit that you read.
I read some things.
Yeah.
I read some things. I don't know. Let's talk about Shang Chi.
Oh, sure.
Read Shang Chi this week. Written by Jean Luan Yang, with art by I thought I figured out how to say his name correctly, and then it just fell right.
Was it DK?
It might be DK.
I think it's DK.
Or Deke.
Or Deke.
Deke Ruan.
Yeah.
This was issue 8.
Yep.
And this will see the end of Ruan's art on this book.
Oh.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
For me. I have loved Ruan's art throughout this entire series. He tends to be more of a traditional artist, and I just love his treatment of the characters and the action. It's been consistent throughout. It's not like anything like bad happened or nefarious. In fact, at the end, like it says like to be continued, and then it says like thank you to everything or for everything to the artist. And I think either the colorist or the inker is also leaving. So I was like, okay, because like what they're touting is for issue 9, they're saying it's a new jumping on point. We're going to continue the story, but they're saying might be not a bad place to jump on. Marcus Toe, who you might know from Excalibur, is going to be jumping on as well.
Okay, that's not bad.
So I'm like, all right, it's gonna have a different feel. And there was just something about Ruan's art that I adored.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy Marcus Toe's work as well, I have no doubt, but this art will be missed. Yang has done an incredible job of telling Shang-Chi's story up to this point and continues to do so. I have no complaints about this book and the story that is unfolding before us. Every time something seems to have concluded, a new like door is opened, thus making it feel like a continuous story thread instead of like being like, okay, here's the end of this next part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you see that a lot in comics, but not in every ongoing. Not every ongoing manages to do that, to like thread it through so well. And like, I just think he's done a very good job of introducing us to Shang-Chi, while also not making it like feel like it has to be starting from the ground up. Like we've put things in there, and I'm sure people who know the lore, they're like, oh, cool. But people who are coming in maybe from the movie, you're gonna hear some things in there that you're familiar with as well. And this issue definitely has that. Shang is is dealing with a lot of like responsibility and family and all that entails, considering what his family has been known for. The two sides to it, which again, if you saw the film, you'll feel very comfortable with this. There's a little bit a difference there, but they lay it all out for you. But it's been a great ride so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Marcus Toe brings to the table as well. So this is a recommend for me. again, they're calling it a jumping on point. I don't know if they're saying that necessarily just because Marcus Toe is jumping on, or they're saying like, no, if you haven't read the past 8 issues, give it a shot.
You'll be fine.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I really enjoyed this book.
It's impressive they were managed to keep it consistent for 8 issues.
Yes.
And would you say that since the book wouldn't exist without the movie, that now the movie has come and gone and its impact on culture is pretty much faded and dwindled? Does the book still stand on its own 2 feet?
Yeah, I mean, we're still dealing with things that we understood or may have learned first from a movie,
right?
In this, like Taulo and all that. Like
Sure.
we're going there. Next.
Okay, good.
So, or no, maybe we're not. I think we're going someplace else, but it's mentioned a lot.
Okay.
But you know, it just feels very comfortable, and honestly, I think it's a testament as well to Young's writing as to how lovable and enjoyable the characters are.
Right.
You know, like good, bad, whatever. Like I just enjoy them and their conversations, and you know everything that's happening to them. I'm invested.
Sweet. You know, this show, by the way, is sponsored by viewers like you. If you want to give us a like, that really helps us out as well. But we got some super chats here from people who want to see the show owned by you out there who are watching. Brian Rollins, for example, says, last week's comic thoughts, the moon blowing up is not that big a deal. And what the hell happened in X-Cellent? Great job with all the videos last week. Thank you, Brian. Looking forward to hearing about X-Cellent. I don't know. Did you read X-Cellent?
I did.
Great, because I wanted to hear about that. I know that it's a big deal. It's a big crazy book. It's the return of X-Statics. And yeah, the moon, we'll talk about that. But you don't want to know about it here because the moon, it explodes. Kevin Kruger, when the Shadow Man trade comes out, will it be on back issues? Great question, Kevin, because I've been touting the book Shadow Man for a while. Great writing by Cullen Bunn, great art by John Davis Hunt. It's also a terrific jumping on point for that character. And I only get paid when we have a sponsored video for an advertisement. For example, Magic Spoon was kind enough to sponsor our show, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Mm-hmm.
You knew we got paid there. If I talk about Shadow Man, it's because I dig the book. That's the end of it. But I will say that I'm not happy with how Valiant is embracing the NFT market. I do happen to know that like the comic branch is a little different from the corporate branch. And as a result, like basically that there are two there's a little bit of a divide between who's driving which part of the Valiant ship. And honestly, like if they asked me to do anything with the NFTs, I'd sever my ties with Valiant entirely. And I'm a little bit ashamed of all my plugging of Valiant because of their embracing of NFTs. And so it's gonna be tough for me. But you won't be seeing Shadow Man on back issues. But who knows? You know, if Valiant can figure itself out, you know, you never know. The time for Valiant was when Bloodshot came out. Too bad COVID came, and that was the end of that. But thankfully, we didn't do Bloodshot because then that video would have been for nothing, and no one would have seen the movie. So hey, it worked out.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but like you didn't see Bloodshot. I know it. You didn't see it.
I didn't.
I literally was in a crowded theater during COVID and saw Bloodshot in New York.
It was as it was hitting.
It was just as it was hitting.
We didn't know. Nobody knew about it at that point, and I wasn't able to go.
No, thank goodness.
So,
but yeah, we'll see. I would love to talk about it because it's a really cool book, and I know that the people who made that book love it and love what they're doing, and I know that the comics they're making, especially the books that are coming up soon. Mm-hmm. It might be the best time to be a Valiant fan for the comics that are coming out now since the Dinesh era.
Ooh.
Dan V900.
Shots fired.
X-Cellent coming out in 2.5 years after Giant Size X-Statics wasn't a great choice when it was supposed to return in 2020. You'd be lost since it doesn't do hand holding for non-X-Statics fans. I doubt anybody's picking up X-Cellent who doesn't know what X-Statics is, or if they are, maybe they'll like you knew at least that there was a thing. You weren't like, this is brand new and came out of nowhere. You knew that at least there was some kind of like all red related thing. But yeah, I read at least the first 3 pages and I was like, there is no guidance. You are just, hopefully you read X-Statics or were in some way familiar with the universe.
So I didn't. Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Because Homecoming Hero says, this channel helped me so much because comics are very easy to get lost in. Keep being awesome. Can't wait for more adventures and surprises in 2022. Same here, man. More adventures and surprises, but we do appreciate it. And good surprises are always great. Mm-hmm. New Type JB Lee, hope you're well. On Spidey and Daredevil, do you dislike Secret Identity retcons? Because I miss the days when Ben Urich used to know both Pete and Matt's identities. I like that, but I don't miss it because they're not doing anything with Ben right now anyway. outside of like X-Men, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But it didn't really add anything. You know, like
Mm.
Ben has integrity. We know it. We know that he would never betray them. We don't need him to know that already.
Yeah.
Dan V. Unnoted returns to say Marvel announcing the 30th anniversary celebration 1 hour ago of Marvel 2099 as Spider-Man 2099 Exodus Alpha #1 with Steve Orlando writing. It disappoints me. Not a big fan of his and Alpha again. Who knows? I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it. And I understand that like Alpha was created as a joke. Like I remember, if you're not familiar with who Alpha is, Dan Slott pushed him as kind of like the next big thing. But I remember him doing that like when it happened in real time, and he did it with like tongue firmly planted in cheek. Like Alpha was supposed to be like a one-off scumbag that nobody liked, that was overhyped.
Right.
And like I don't think that they got rid of him, you know, quickly or because of fan reaction. I think he had the lifespan he had because of the formation of that character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, why not try him again? I think it was King that I was talking to the other day about like how any character could pretty much get their own miniseries. Like you could, there are no bad characters, more or less.
Right. Especially if you add stuff to them.
Well, yeah, especially
if you add depth to them, then
Yeah.
there's no character. There's no bad characters.
Well,
In
and-
fact, the more blank they are, the better.
that's true.
then.
Well, and Alpha's like a piece of shit. Like he could use a Tom King miniseries to clean him up. So yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, you were going to talk about X-Cellent, I guess.
Do you want me to go there?
Why not? Let's go there because we talked about it. It's a good
Yeah,
transition?
let's talk about that. Let's just talk about. Let's just get it all out there, guys. I am familiar in of ecstatic in
Like, in
terms
name?
of I know that they existed.
right.
End of my knowledge,
There you go.
and that's okay. I still jumped into this with both feet.
Yeah.
Just went right for it. Written by Peter Milligan with art by Mike Allred.
Yep.
So you know you're in for it. And let me just tell you, you are in for it. However, if you're the type of person who enjoys Doom Patrol and you're used to that sort of thing,
Right.
and maybe you're a person who, like, you know, you jumped in with the like Gerard Way, and maybe you weren't familiar with the Morrison era, but you still enjoyed, right? That's kind of what I think people can take from this. Like, if that's where your brain goes when you open this book, which is like, I opened this book and I saw the first page and I was like, okay, I'm ready in the mindset. I know what I'm in for.
Yeah.
And therefore I enjoyed the book. You know what I mean?
Right.
The writing is, the word zany
Yes.
comes to mind, but that's not quite it, because there's definitely like an undercurrent of like sort of parody, sort of like, you know, a level of seriousness there.
Yeah.
In terms of an underlying message. At least that's how it feels. Like
Okay.
there's something more to it. There's a depth to
Yeah.
this current of zaniness, right?
Nice.
It's called X-Cellent. It is about a new team of mutants called the X-Cellent, led by Zeitgeist,
Whom you might know from Deadpool 2.
but probably not.
Yeah.
They're also Ecstatic is there as well,
Yeah.
right? And they're like currently two warring teams.
Yes.
Right. One of the members of Ecstatic currently is a daughter of a previous member, I believe, is what they kind of give you the airs
okay.
of. Yugo Girl is now her daughter's on the team, right?
Okay.
And here is why I think, in my opinion, just by simply reading this, that there is something tongue-in-cheek about this, something like a little, like, parody doesn't seem the right word.
Right.
Satire, possibly.
Okay. Yeah.
Might be the right word. And not just like a send-up of like comic books or mutants or other such things, but like part of what Ecstatic is doing in this book is like they're filming a show because like Dupe used to do it for them, but like his style was too art housey and they're trying to attract a younger crowd to watch. And meanwhile, X-Cellent is like putting out all of these like viral videos, like live streaming, and they've got like hundreds of millions of followers, like way more than this produced show.
Yes. I see.
And so like they're getting all these followers and all these people watching their show as they're putting out their own truth about Ecstatic.
Right.
Like there's something to this.
Yeah.
And so if that's the kind of like book and the type of read that you're looking for, this might be a book for you, even if you don't necessarily know all the players, I feel like you'll appreciate what Allred is doing, or not Allred, what Milligan is doing with his story and his little like, you know, here's the story, but then like here's the like, you know, what's really being said here.
Yeah.
Mike Allred's art is
excellent.
It's great. I mean, like, listen, Allred's art is very specific.
Yes.
It's very specific, right? But it fits perfectly with this type of book. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the right feel for it.
Yeah.
And, you know, like initially it's like, oh, it's just, you know, because I had read right before I read this book, I read the 10 Lives of Wolverine.
Yes.
Such a different look. Right. Dealing with mutant characters, switch over to this, and I'm like, right, okay, just switch the brain on over. We're doing something very different here. But I think it works really, really well. You know, there's a lot of like, there's a lot to this, and we can get into it more, but probably this is not the venue for it. And I think after a second issue, we'll have a better idea for it. But like, you know, there's a mutant character in this who her power is she makes mirrors, right? And like she shows people presumably like who they really are. And I'm like, this is interesting, right? You know, Zeitgeist tries to like attract other teleporters to like join his team, and like says like, oh, I interviewed all of them and they all failed, and like you just see him talking to like Nightcrawler and Blink, and then being like, ew, go away. So, you know, we're getting in this like underlying message of like the way in which information is given to us, and how like the person who's telling you or like telling you the story is often the one who's in charge of the narrative, right?
Course,
and like,
yeah.
So it's a lot here about narratives. There's a lot here about social media in general. There's a lot here about, you know, like them producing this like show, trying to attract younger viewers, but you know, he's doing live streams and he's getting more like better, yeah. So there's a lot to it. And again, someone who is not familiar with Ecstatic, I have to assume that this is very in keeping tonally with that.
I think so.
So that's what I got for you. But again, like if you are the kind of person who likes Doom Patrol, tongue-in-cheek, satire, you might really dig this book.
Hey.
That's what I got.
Well, speaking of X-Men, you want to talk about the 10 Lives of Wolverine #2?
Yeah, let's talk about the 10 Lives of Wolverine #2, written by a person, Benjamin Percy, who is a person.
He is a person. You're right. I can't say you're wrong. Yeah.
With art by Joshua Cassara. This story is issue 2 is the continuation of the lives of Wolverine, as opposed to the deaths. They're interchangeably coming out each week, I believe, right? But like
they're alternating,
yeah, but really meant to be told as one story, although we have yet to see the crossover from that truly in this issue or the previous issue of Death of Wolverine.
That's right.
We technically saw that weird thing.
We did see a little bit of a weird thing, yeah. But...
And concerning Wolverine directly, which could be concerned, like it obviously is going to be connected to this. It could be connected to something from Pox, but probably not. But we don't see a definitive connection here. We just see Wolverine hopping through different lives and get like a little refresher on Omega Red being like a part of like X-Force. Gets a little more information about that, just being like, hey, here's what happened. This is why this is going on.
Great.
Right? So that's great. So like if you were like, I didn't read X-Force.
Right.
Or like, was this explained in X-Force? Because I'll be honest, X-Force was one of those books that early on when they all first started coming out, I didn't really read X-Force. I wasn't into it. I didn't go back and read the rest of them, but I don't feel lost here whatsoever. I did read after a certain point.
Yes.
Because then like I was just the only one reading X titles over here.
That's true.
So I was like, well, okay. But I love Cassara's art in this. Let's talk about that.
Sure, yeah.
Gate. Like it's just so moody and like has like a painterly quality, but also, you know, just incredible action sequences. Like occasionally looks like a couple of other people's art influences are in there. Like sometimes I get a little bit of Noto, sometimes I get a little bit of Kubrick. Like it's just interesting. I'm just like, oh, but you get these like really like I want to call them like classic moments for Wolverine, but I couldn't tell you what it is exactly. It just makes you feel like Wolverine, like you're Wolverine in Nam.
Yeah.
Like remembering something. And it's just like shadowy and moody and like just.
Yeah. It looks like a Team 7 book, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is good, which is a compliment, honestly.
Okay.
I like him in his Maverick suit. I had the Maverick figure.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Well, Maverick's with him. Like,
or his. Well, not Maverick suit. Maverick is the character he teams up with. That suit that he wears. It's his stealth suit or something like that. It's where he looks like his ski goggles and stuff.
Yeah. He's there. He's in Nam with Maverick and Sabretooth and you know, and part of that story is that like, Jean's like, okay, we got to go this way because like Xavier's here and he's like with a group and they're trying to like save the forest and like animals and stuff like that. So we got to help him.
Okay.
And as he's going along, he's like, being here just reminded me of something. It just unlocked a memory for me. Like, my team is going to go and stop this drug cartel, right? And then as part of our orders, we have to go and like attack other villages as well because it's better to fear us than the cartels. And he's like, I have to stop them.
Yeah, cool.
And she's like,
don't do that. You have to stay on target. Yeah.
Upsetting the timeline may not be a good idea.
That's fine.
And he's like, I can't live with myself. And so like we're seeing Wolverine deal with all different like
that's cool. That's a great idea.
Right? This is a Wolverine. In this issue, we see 3 different times for Wolverine. So it's Wolverine in Nam, it's Wolverine in the 1900s as a teenager.
Okay.
Where Jean's like, you're so skinny.
It's like, yeah, thanks.
He's like, cool.
I never thought anyone would see me during that time.
And then Wolverine going to Japan.
Sweet.
Where he sees Itsu.
Yeah.
Who was his wife established in like 2006.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like she's there and like Omega Red unfortunately jumps into her body.
Oh.
And like here's a moment where he's like with her.
Yeah.
Like in the like husband and wife kind of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he asks Jean like just for a minute.
Yeah.
And like she's like, and she leaves, right?
Yeah.
And it's cute because like she goes like Itsu says to him like one more minute because she doesn't know who he's talking to.
Right.
Because this is Wolverine's old consciousness
in his younger body.
And he's like, oh no, you're mine all night. And I'm like, it's so cute. And then it's immediately destroyed. So like this book is great. Again, if you like Wolverine, you might really like this book because it's just Wolverine in different time periods, in different bodies of his, trying to stop the like assassination of Xavier. This gives you a little backstory too as to how they figured this out, like, and what Omega Red's role in all of this is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's awesome.
It's just a fun book. I really, really like this. And again, Cassara's art, great.
Yeah.
Also, good job for Percy managing all these timelines.
Yes. In our super chats, Jam Call X says, because the question popped up in back issues, Vitor is the god of plants, specifically the forest, also god of vengeance, shakes fist at the sky. Nice. Thank you. That does actually answer a question we had in our most recent Thor episode. Nerdy Rock Comics. I know it's a little older, but did you read She-Hulk? Yes, it's great. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the art. I enjoyed the writing. I don't care about Jack of Hearts, but I did enjoy it, and it feels like it's true to form, getting back to basics. Joshua Mayhead with an adorable super sticker. Thank you so much for not only your incredible generosity, but also using super stickers, because those things are great.
Yes, they are. And it's here. It's adorable.
I love the Shibas. So.
It's a little Shiba Inu just saying, you're amazing.
You're amazing. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Cayetano Garcia, first time donating. That explains that, because I'm sorry. If I've read your name like a bunch of times, I might be able to better say it, but
that's not a plea for more.
It is not. No, I'm just saying. Cayetano Garcia.
There you go.
First time donation. My question is for you, Sal. Any chance of doing a back issue on IDW's Ghostbusters? I have wanted to do it since we started doing back issues, but now that we don't even know if IDW has Ghostbusters, and we've had a sequel to Ghostbusters, we've had 2 different Ghostbusters movies, and neither of them succeeded financially. I'm a little worried. We did. If you like it, go back into our archives and find my interview with not only Eric Burnham, but Dan Schoening from the IDW Ghostbusters book. It's the lowest viewed Elseworlds Exchange ever made. And it is like, it's Ghostbusters, but like that for me scared me from doing Ghostbusters ever on one of our flagship shows.
That's okay.
I love that book. I would do Get Real first, and then I would hopefully try and get the rest of Mass Hysteria.
Okay.
Because I have I have one of the trades, or 2 of them. I have 2 of the trades.
Right.
Cat Lawyer. Tiffany, did you read Ultra Mega? Cool kaiju art.
I don't read Ultra Mega.
We have a couple of those.
Yeah.
But no.
I am aware of it, though. That's as far as I go, but I appreciate the kaiju love.
Yeah. Algie Try, funds for the 100K live show Spectacular. Thank you, Algie. Thank you so much.
And it's coming right into the pizza.
That's right. It's happening. I will let you know as soon as I know.
Yes.
Alden Tolbert. I'm sorry, I always say this. The Tick needs an epic comeback. Spoon. I agree.
He's here too.
Yeah, hit him.
Oh.
Oh, great.
Yay. I agree. And you know what? It's shameless, but like I have a killer Tick pitch.
I know you do.
So if New England Comics would like to I don't even want them to guarantee it. I just want to be able to pitch it.
Yeah.
But I have a killer Tick pitch, and I have an artist I'd like to work with. Yay. New type JB Lee. How come Ben Urich became so downplayed because of the 80s and the early 2000s? He was vital to the street guys like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Spidey, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones. I think it's just, writers want to use their own creations, and after the 90s, Bendis took over most of those characters you described, and he used Ben a bunch, but like he'd rather use his original characters. Kingsport Cal. I was rereading Spider-Man Round Robin Psychic's Revenge. I'm hoping you tackle this classic on back issue sometime soon. Tiffany got Batman so soon. Yeah, that's right. You have a Batman shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
This is actually sent to us.
That's true.
So
yeah,
I am repping that brand, but I also just like this
it's
shirt
a great
design
shirt.
a lot. Like,
yeah.
First of all, I love me a black t-shirt.
Yeah.
Second of all, just one color.
Oh, I know.
I'm in. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's just, yeah. No, but we were very fortunate, David. This was sent and it fits well and it's comfy.
Yeah.
So and it's cold outside. So like, I got to pair it with my flannel,
Yeah. I too read Round Robin like about a week or so ago, and I don't think we're ever going to do it on back issues. Let me tell you. Whew.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Maybe,
but maybe
it'd be silly.
But
I don't know if we have it. Anyway, let's talk about Sabretooth, because Sabretooth is
let's talk about something else that nobody else probably read.
Yeah, let's do that. Is it Magic Order?
No, it's actually, I tried a new book this week.
Oh,
I tried a new book this week.
What is it?
I'm gonna pull it up for you so I have all the details here before I pitch what it is. It's the Monkey King.
Ah, yes.
The Monkey Prince. The Monkey Prince #1.
Yep, from DC, right?
Yep, written by Jean Luen Yang with art by Bernard Chung.
Yep.
I won't lie to you. For some reason, seeing just the cover of this book, I was purchasing it on Comixology, and I was like, why did this come out on DC's Day? Isn't this a Marvel book? And I was like, wait, no, this is a DC book. Never mind. I don't know. There was just something about this cover. Immediately, I put it into Marvel.
I think it's the bright colors.
It could be that DC does have plenty of bright colors. I don't know. I don't know if it's literally because there's an M. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
M.
Like, and there's red.
Right.
Like, it was just a combination of things. My brain immediately put it in there.
That's funny.
Art-wise, I think Chung did a great job.
Yeah.
Like,
typically does.
Bernard Chung.
I've always said Chang, but that's because I'm like I'm a white heathen. I have no idea.
Well, regardless, I really enjoyed the art in this. Looks dope. Young does an excellent job of introducing the character and setting up the rules of this world, essentially. Really kind of dig these like origin story we're getting for this character. It follows a young boy named Marcus, who's got a little trauma. He's got a little trauma. He lives in Gotham.
I don't want to let it happen.
Lives in Gotham, and one night, as a young boy, he's going to bed, and like he's not afraid of lightning, but there's lightning outside, and there's like a panel where there's like lightning outside, and it is such a Batman lightning bolt out there, right? It is a straight up Dark Knight Returns Batman lightning bolt right outside his window, but he's not afraid of thunder because he knows what it is. He scientifically knows what it is. But then it sounds like the thunder's walking around in the hallway of his house.
Oh wow!
So he goes to check on his parents, and as he's walking along, like there's like wet footsteps, like they make puddles and like on the floor, and so his feet walk in them, like his bare feet, and like so he remembers that he's got these sense memories, right?
Yeah.
And that's when he sees his dad being punched by Batman. And I got to tell you, it looks great. Looks Batman punching this poor man.
Yeah,
looks great. Batman immediately makes a big scary Batman face, which is like, hey, listen, like we're just criminals in that room. Good job. But there's like a little kid, and that kid's like Batman's like, you've got a kid? So it turns out his family is actually they work for various supervillains. And so like that's what like they're lackeys. They're scientists, but they're like they work for supervillains, and they've pinched all over the place.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't really know that. Ever since then, Marcus like has had like something where like, as he like either trauma hits him or he has some PTSD, like he doubles over and he kind of like feels like he might throw up, and like he starts making these like sounds.
Oh no.
Right? Right. So inevitably they end up back in Gotham, and like he gets triggered at one point. His parents are working for the Penguin. Right. And like, yes, it turns out that like, he has the ability to like, well, he meets the Monkey King and then like reemerges as the Monkey Prince. in his school where Damien goes to. And that's the only
What?
thing that I'm like, wait, what? You
Yeah.
mean to tell me Damien goes to a public school?
He does not. But okay.
And like maybe they're not. Wait, I don't necessarily know the name of this high school, but I'm just like, sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
So then Batman shows up and like who knows where this is going to go next. Super fun introduction to a younger character.
Yeah.
I love the
I didn't know he was a younger character, so I love that.
right? Yeah, he's a high school kid.
Yeah, that's fun.
Right?
I had no idea. I didn't know what to expect from that book.
So like what I really enjoy is like that flip side of Batman where it's like, okay, your parents do suck, but like also they have a family.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
and like Batman's now traumatized this kid.
Yeah. What's he gonna do about it?
Like, what's Batman gonna do with that monkey prince? I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
really had a good time with it, and you know, I'm like, all right.
All right. I assume it's I think, is it an ongoing? I think it's a mini. I don't remember.
I thought it just said a big old number 1 at the
Yeah, it
front.
just has a number
This is limited
one.
series.
Okay, great.
Limited series.
It's a good
So,
idea. Keep it.
This is
you
one of
know.
those things where it's like if you're just looking for something kind of fun, maybe you're looking for like a younger character
Yeah.
with a bit of like the like mystical side,
Yeah.
or a mystical touch to it, but there's also like I'm not sure where the adventures will take this character next, but like we're starting in Gotham. We have a tie immediately to Batman.
Yeah.
Which to me does not feel forced. I really appreciate it. I was like,
Yeah.
this is clever.
Because
This
it's
is just
usually
clever.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I'm like, you know what? Limited series, I feel like I can invest in this.
Yeah, why not?
So
Good. I'm glad you checked it out because I know you were a little curious about it, and
I
I myself was curious about it too. But I was like, I don't know.
well, I'm like, you know what it is? Like his Young's work on Shang-Chi has made me be like, I'll try
anything he's
I'll
written.
try at least one issue of something he's writing.
That's fair. I saw this is totally it's just really weird. I saw Phantasm Comics in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Got a whole bunch of old comic books, and one of them was Detective Comics number 347 from 1966, and it was a book that it captured my imagination as a child. It's in my Tales of the Dark Knight. Like basically, it's like a Batman anthology book that just tells you about your stuff. It has a bunch of old covers, and it captivated my imagination. I never knew anything about this book outside of the cover, and as a kid, I was like, what is this? It threatens the death of Batman. It has a crying Robin on the cover where he's like, I'm going to bring in your killer, Batman. I swear it. There was a warning on the cover. Do not reveal the surprise ending of this story to your friends. They'll want to get the same kick out of it that you did. So there was some serious hype around this book, Detective 347 from 1966.
Yeah.
And I read it.
You did?
I read it for the first time since I was a small child.
And how did it hold up?
Well, let me tell you something. First of
Wait,
all,
are you going to ruin the surprise ending?
I
of this
don't know if I
story?
should, but like, okay, so this is one of those comics. Detective Comics has a number of stories in it. The first one was called The Magic Card. It was written by Jack Schiff with art by Bernard Bailey. The second story was The Strange Death of Batman, written by Gardner Fox with art by Carmine Infantino, which is a killer team.
Okay.
This not only promises the death of Batman,
Yes.
and Robin's reckoning,
Okay.
and a surprise twist ending you couldn't believe and mustn't spoil, but it also introduces a new villain that I've never seen used again, and it's called the Bouncer. And the Bouncer develops a special rubbery alloy that he coins himself, and then makes a skin thin layer of this of this compound, covers himself head to toe in it, and then bounces his way through Gotham, causing crime sprees, gives Batman a significant run for his money, and kicks his ass a couple times. Certainly, he embarrasses the two of them to the point where the news are making quick light of Batman and Robin and their ineffectualness, their inability to defeat the Bouncer. So they're like, there's a news crew following Batman and Robin around to catch them, like, you know, watch them lose against the Bouncer yet again. And there's a sequence where the Bouncer needs to throw his gun against a wall, but he's pretty sure that his new rubber alloy is against that wall, so it'll bounce off the wall and back into his hand, so he can it'll set off the gun, shoot Batman in the back, and then he'll get his gun back. But in this story, things go awry. I don't want to spoil it too badly because this book it's like 4 pages long. But oh my god, I was like, what the hell? So in the story, it breaks because Batman has come up with a antigen for this rubber alloy. So the gun shatters, and instead,
You gonna tell us or you're not?
yeah, I'll tell you.
All
The
right.
bouncer gets punched in the face by Batman, and he's quickly defeated.
Well, then this covers a lie.
No, it's not, because there is in the comic book a moment where Gardner Fox himself, as a comic book character, is like, "Well, I
The
wrote
writer?
another issue of Detective Comics, but what if Batman didn't survive?"
Wait, he writes the story and then he does a what if to his own story?
Yes. So what if? And so instead, what happens is the bouncer's plan goes off without a hitch, shoots Batman. Batman dies. The bouncer laughs at Robin, leaves.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna kill you, kid.
No,
I'm gonna laugh at you.
that's right. They're all gonna laugh at you. Superman, Green Arrow, and a few other heroes visit Robin. They're like, "Sorry, Batman died. He was okay." Robin and Superman offers to take out the bouncer for him. He's like, I'll get him. And Robin's like, no one get involved. I have to avenge Batman's death. So ultimately, Robin does. He figures out the problem with the compound. He originates a cure for it. He basically shatters the bouncer's exterior, whatever layer,
His
and kicks his ass and ties him up and leaves him for the police. He then returns to the Batcave, sorrowful, having now, saved. Well, he's defeated the bouncer and avenged his mentor.
Yes.
But then Bruce Wayne appears behind him, and he's like, "Hey," and Robin's like, "I can't believe it's you, Bruce," and it isn't. It's Bruce Wayne from Earth 2, and he's like, "Hey." So, like, my Robin is older and he's good, so I'm going to make him Batman, and he and I decided that I'm going to stay here in Earth 1, and I'm going to be your Batman and guide you. Also, Alfred died, like, during this time, and I'm going to bring my Alfred from Earth 2 to this reality.
What?
So Earth 2 Batman and Earth 2 Alfred go to Earth 1 and just assimilate into old Bruce's original life. This is not a surprise ending. It is a complete lie. Not only do we get the story where he doesn't die, but we get like a what if, and even then he doesn't die because Earth 2 Batman shows up and replaces him. I'm like, are you friggin' for real? This 25-year-old mystery for me, this 50-year-old mystery for me, sucks. I love this cover so much. I almost spent $25 to get it. I don't need to anymore because damn you. But I can't wait for Tom King to make the Bouncer the new major Kite Man-esque Batman villain for the future. Because, man, the Bouncer, limitless potential, terrific power.
What was this story?
Sucks.
Well, not your telling of it. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Well, thank you.
I enjoyed every moment of that.
But
Recap
yeah,
there.
this cover is still great though.
I do love that cover.
But I read it, I was like, damn it.
It looks like an homage cover. Like this could come out today.
I wish it would. It's amazing. It's still great. I would love a poster of this.
Mondo should do a run of this.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It would be great.
That'd be great. So Sabretooth came out, and that was a miniseries I know a lot of people were talking about. They were like really hyped about it. Were you?
Was I hyped about it? Like when leading up to it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna read it because I was like, all right, what are you gonna do with Sabretooth? Or Hickman's not here no more. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Folks?
Yeah. What are they gonna do?
What are they gonna do? So I don't know if I was hyped so much. I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. You read this, right?
I did.
Good. Okay.
Of course I've read this.
Yeah. Well, this is written by Victor Lavalle or Laval. I'm sorry. And with art by Leonard Kirk. Great art. Really like seamlessly integrates into the Hickman era, the Pepe Larraz, the RB Silvas, the look of like of the X-Men line, and pays off what we saw from the very beginning of the run, where Sabretooth was condemned to basically like a waking, living death in the belly of Krakoa.
Yeah, but he doesn't know it necessarily.
No,
it turns out.
No, he doesn't. So ultimately, the whole thing takes place within Sabretooth's mind. Where Sabretooth, now with the new regime of Krakoa, Cypher goes to advocate for Sabretooth. Sabretooth, who is stuck in his own mind, who can't escape, he lives through his nightmares. He indulges in his own vices.
In his dreams, but he doesn't remember any of it.
Exactly.
He also hates bears.
He also has a real problem with bears.
What's up, man? Come on.
So Cypher advocates for Creed, not that he's going to be released, but rather that he would retain his memories and basically be like, you're still down there, but you get to be your own person. You get to keep your mind.
Which is like, for me, I don't understand why you'd even bother to do that.
Me either.
Because like Cypher in this book, like I was like, oh,
is an
like,
idiot asshole.
well, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Cypher, like, you know, he's like trying to like advocate and like be like, you know, like, no, like give you a second chance. But there's nothing about Creed in this
Mhm.
that is redeemable
Yeah.
whatsoever.
No.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, no, Cypher could just look at any
But
of
like
the
his
things.
fantasies are killing people,
Yeah.
and like, and then he keeps killing Cypher over and over again. Even though he can't do it. But I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, I think it's like it's like ever since Cypher hooked up with Krakoa, Cypher's plan has just been to undermine whatever they've been doing.
maybe that's just Krakoa.
It could be Krakoa influencing him, could be
Or
Warlock. It could just be Cypher's a dickhead who's never really done anything interesting since like the New Mutants. So in any case, he takes the deal and then he just lives his life in his mind, like doing everything he's always wanted to do, murdering Xavier for taking him down there, killing Iron Fist because he first appeared in an Iron Fist book, just killing everybody. And then he gets a minute to like,
I love that he's holding his Iron Fist hand.
Yeah,
they've got
their like
the
they're
Iron
glowing.
Fist power.
But you know, he's like, wow, what do I do with myself? And
Like,
I thought
and
like, oh, cool.
This was the moment for me too. I was like, wow. I'm like, they're gonna prove that what the pit actually is a place to reform.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is really deep. I love this.
Yeah. No. Sabretooth meets with all the aspects of his personality, his savage nature, his childhood nature, and basically they're like, we're what are we gonna do now? What do we do with ourselves?
Yeah.
So they're like, well, the first thing we should do is become like Conan. And so Sabretooth becomes Conan and like he becomes a king. He murders and pillages throughout the lands. He becomes a Starjammer.
He becomes the leader of the Starjammer. And that's honestly, after this, I was like, he's going to live through all of these and then realize that like what he really wants is just companionship.
Yeah.
And, like whatever. And that's, again, not what this book is.
No, but as Sabretooth explores these different like avenues of his life, Krakoa is reflecting Sabretooth throughout Krakoa. And he's appearing his
like a ghost,
throughout the friggin' like land.
Mm-hmm.
And he never gets tired of murdering and raping and pillaging and destroying and violence. He never gets tired of it. And ultimately he ends up like engineering a hell that like his rage, his hate, his evil infects Krakoa such that like he has engineered his own mindscape has become a hell that whereupon he sits on the throne of leadership.
Yep.
And then the skies open up and it seems like other people who are sent to the same fate that Sabretooth was, they don't just go into that waking nightmare of their own making. Instead, because of the freeing of Sabretooth's mind, he somehow infected Krakoa. And so now anyone who is punished by the like Quiet Council is sent to Sabretooth's personal hell.
And this part I am like interested to see where this goes. But like I thought we were going to get a little bit of a redemption.
Yeah, for Sabretooth. Now we've seen that already. How about what if he was an irredeemable person who literally is the devil of Krakoa?
Yeah, and I mean I guess that's pretty on point for him, but like he is literally the irredeemable Sabretooth. And I'm just like, they were absolutely correct to put you in here.
Yeah, they were right to do it. And anybody who argues against it is a fool. So the book is excellent. It's really well written. It's really well executed in terms of art. And it's like it's a fun subversion because like you expect the story to go in one direction and it just steamrolls towards its inevitable conclusion that you should have seen coming.
Well, I guess, I mean, I assumed it was going to be like a deep dive into Sabretooth's like psyche and his character.
Nah.
We were going to go on like a little bit of like you know, like a journey with him.
Yeah, you're going on a journey, all right.
Yeah, it's just not the journey I thought I was signing up
creates
for.
hell. So that's Sabretooth, and it's pretty awesome.
Right.
But also like, you know, it's like Misery Incarnate. So if you're looking for that, go for it. If you're not, it's gonna be more of the same.
At least it looks good.
Same here, by the way. Like I don't think I'm gonna read anymore.
Really? I mean, I will.
It's a great book.
I got to keep up.
Yeah, it is an excellent book, but I'm not interested in watching hell be created. LT3 says, glad I caught you live to support and share a story. Watched Let There Be Carnage with a friend. Laughed every time they said Lethal Protector and thought of Sal screaming it every single time. Thank you. Lethal Protector! He does get to say Let There Be Carnage too in that movie, which is just a hallmark of a great film. Alex Sanchez, Jurassic League by Daniel Warren Johnson. Lol. Yes, there is a book coming out called Jurassic League. It's like Justice League, but they're dinosaur people. It's not just DW's, but he, people are picking it up because he's doing it.
Because I think they're picking it up because they're dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because there's just something about dinosaurs.
Yep.
I don't know.
Cthulhu says, when will we get Tom King and Sal Batman v Predator podcast? All jokes aside, I love all the shows. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great conversation.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad that anybody who checked it out did enjoy it. It was a fun episode. Tom King came on the show. Go check it out.
You guys have just such a really easy way about your conversations.
Thank you.
So easy to just listen to the whole thing.
He's really good at because he's very good at disarming, which probably is a testament to his ability to be like a CIA interrogator. But he makes it feel comfortable. I don't feel intimidated by him, and so it makes it a much more natural conversation. Plus, we talked a few times now.
Yeah.
Eric Santy, did you read the Marauders Annual? I didn't.
Did I? I don't think so.
Lucha Dandy, Sabretooth's hatred for bears stems from one eating his jar of honey. The bear in question, poo. Lol. And the Milkman, I stopped listening to Tiffany, when she started recapping The Monkey Prince to buy it on Comixology and read it for myself, and it's great.
Yay!
Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. And Kali Frederick, are you saying some part of him imprinted onto Krakoa? That's exactly what I'm saying.
Or some part of Krakoa
imprinted onto him. I'm thinking it's also more like he poured his malice and his hate into Krakoa.
I thought they were talking about
the hell?
No, Cypher.
Oh, Cypher, yeah. Maybe.
I fully expect at the end of this whole thing that Warlock leaves Cypher and just hangs out with Krakoa.
I think Warlock is going to be like a
big problem.
Or the linchpin of something, kind of like the Brood King, but I think no one's going to remember that until Hickman's whole venture thing inevitably ends. Daredevil Woman Without Fear is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Rafael De La Torre. This is a mini series, so don't get too excited. This is a great book, terrific art, good writing. There's nothing terribly groundbreaking or out there about it, but it was an amazing palate cleanser when I read it immediately after Justice League Incarnate, which is just choked with continuity, hugely dense. Justice League Incarnate feels like a comic book written in the 80s. In every respect, in a good way, and in if you like modern comics way, not that great, but I think it's awesome. But reading this is very much like modern comics. It's just a story.
Right.
Watch Elektra do her thing. Watch her fight Kraven. It's cool and it's worth your money. You should check out the series, if nothing else, just for the terrific story and the art. It's a great comic book. The Reckoning War began.
Yeah, I saw you grab this. From
Dan Slott and Pacheco and Magno. There's actually a couple of artists on this. Carlos Pacheco, Rafael Fonteries, and Carlos Magno. This is Dan Slott's magnum opus.
The Thing's eyes.
He's like, ooh, yeah. The Reckoning War. This cover sucks.
I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm sorry. This is the Reckoning War Alpha #1, because Slott likes to do that now. God only knows why, but
because they're gonna have an Omega.
Yeah, well, that's how they're going to end the book. The series will end on the Omega.
Well,
issue.
Are there going to be a whole bunch of tie-ins to this?
Naturally.
Are there going to only be 2 issues of this?
Oh, I hope so.
Because that's the Darkhold.
That's how they did it last time.
Whereas it's just 2 issues of the book, and then you can read all the other ones, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's fair. The art is great and suits the story, and it's fun and it's easy to follow. I will say that Slott is. I haven't seen this until Slott took over this book. So I feel like it's his decision, but the lettering really drives me crazy. Everything else is pretty great, except for the recap page, which is just a nightmare to read. Good luck. But also in the lettering, in the establishment text, he likes to use the Bada Boom font, and it's like a throwback. It's fun and whimsical. It just looks tacky, and I don't like it. And so that's a real problem for me.
Okay.
It's very...
sounds like it.
It's very tacky because it's yellow. It has a huge stroke around it, and it's Bada Boom font. And it's knock it off. You can't like have your cake and eat it too, which is what this book is. It is Dan Slott like putting the pieces back together. You know, the Watcher's back. He's got both eyes. He's not a piece of shit. Nick Fury, he's done being whatever the fuck that was, and he's back. But you know, he's still got his greater purpose. And then the moon explodes because it's shot by a space laser, and the Earth responds in kind. The moon. It gets blown up by alien lasers, and Abigail Brand shows up in it, so that'll be fun for you.
Well, excuse me. There's 2 different giant space ships.
Orbiting spaceships.
There's one orbiting Earth. At fault now.
Yeah, no.
Like so.
Dan Slott has no respect for what's happening in X-Men. I cite him unmaking Franklin Richards from being a mutant into not being a mutant, and you know damn well there's no way
because Brand's on
that
the one on
that
Araco,
Hickman signed off on that.
So like,
yeah,
she would have seen that coming from a mile away.
Oh, and this
was on the other one.
No, in this one, Brand's on a spaceship. So yeah, the story itself is very classic Marvel Comics. Like if you liked Marvel in the 90s, you're gonna love this. I myself enjoyed it quite much, like quite a bit.
God, I hope that this ends up being enough for you to do on the couch one day, because I want to hear Ethan talk about the moon being blown up and like all the actual problems that
there's literally a moment where somebody says, can we live without the moon? And they're like, for a little while, yeah, like we'd be fine.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
What are you gonna do, big guys?
I assume they're gonna like pull a moon from like a dead world's dimension.
So then we don't have. Were the Inhumans still on the moon?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, the Inhumans are dead. Remember, Donny Cates killed them.
Right.
But like, Eternity's in it. The Silver Surfer's in it. Doctor Doom, the Fantastic Four, the Unseen. You know, like there's a new origin for the Watchers. We established new villains. Like, it's nuts.
You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? Read this. Read the Reckoning War.
I do like the art for some of like.
It feels well. There's it shifts throughout.
Yeah.
It just feels like chapter breaks, like where it's like, oh, we're moving to another segment of the story.
The last part of this book, like I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of the faces, a lot of the emotions in the faces. Like the action's great, but there's just something about this. It lends itself to like a more serious situation. You know what I mean? Like there's something about the way that the artist is handling the shading and again, like the interactions, and still there's a lot of word balloons on this page, but like they've somehow managed to not cover up all the art. So
no,
like,
it's amazing.
Shout out to the letterer on that one.
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
For real,
I know I was
man.
crapping on the lettering before, but like just stop that bada boom stuff and just leave this.
Like you look at how much is being said, and you can see most of this art. And I gotta like that's
no, it's true.
Nicely handled.
Yeah, I was looking forward to something like the Reckoning War because it's very much like pure classic 90s Marvel comics. Like this is like a Brevoort comic, and I hope he's working on it.
Right.
But it's fun, and you know, is it self-indulgent? Almost certainly.
Sure.
Have I read any of Dan Slott's Fantastic Four? Not for a long time.
What about all those whalers that were on the moon?
Click. But yeah, I recommend it. I think you check it out. Kelly Frederick says, who do you think had the best year in 2021? Taylor, King, or Zdarsky? For me, it's Taylor. Also loving Dark Knights of Steel. How about you guys? We like it. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Scroll back and you'll find it. But like, I think Zdarsky had the best year, although King did put out both Strange Adventures and Human Target.
And Supergirl.
So yeah, King did. Zdarsky, I think, did a better job of like establishing like that he is a force to be reckoned with that's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like he's cemented himself in the world. But King probably had the best year.
I think they all had a good year.
They all did have a good year. We had a best year because we got to read those books.
Yes,
but
we win.
Right. And Jordan Hughes, I literally just got paid, and I've been told sharing is caring. Congratulations on 100K. Should have happened years ago. Can't wait for the stream. Hope everything's going great.
Well, thank you so much. Don't forget, take care of yourself first.
That's
you
right.
First.
Yeah, you pay
first.
Always, no matter what you're doing, pay yourself first. But thank you so much.
You just being here is enough. But thank you so much for your generosity.
Yeah. Comic tropes. Chris says the tides have just stopped existing mostly. Well, that's good to know.
But I need those tides, and so do surfers.
That's right. Exactly. How would the moon blowing up affect werewolves by night? That's a great question. I think it would. I mean, it would affect him directly.
Very, very much so.
Anywhere-based creature in the Marvel universe
is going to have a hard time now.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, does Khonshu die?
Oh.
Does Moon Knight like retire?
Does he feel it?
I don't.
Like
like
Oberon
Obi-Wan? Yeah.
growing up?
Yeah. By the way,
It's gonna be really dark at night.
I think Chris from Comic Tropes is going to be streaming after us, so go check out his stuff over on
Yes.
youtube.com/Comic Tropes. Let's talk about Spider-Man. Do you have any other books that you want to talk about? Because I want
No,
to talk
let's
about
jump into Spider-Man.
the
Let's
Queen
do-
Goblin.
I'm excited for this.
Don't be.
I'm excited to hear you talk about
Yeah,
it.
the Queen Goblin, Amazing Spider-Man number 88 from Zeb Wells, and the introduction of the Queen Goblin. We saw art. They released a bunch of art for this. So like everyone knew the Queen Goblin was coming. It wasn't like, what? Who's this? We got this already. We already knew who the Queen Goblin was, like what the identity was.
Excuse me, hang on one second. Someone just brought up a really great point. The Summer's Home is on the moon.
You know who doesn't care about that? The same guy who made Franklin Richards not a mutant
It's
anymore.
a different time. It's fine.
Yeah, he just couldn't care less.
It's good.
Michael Dowling does the art on this book. So let's talk about it. The writing is okay. So Wells is going to be the ongoing Spider-Man writer.
Yep. And I like Wells.
Wells good. He does a good job overall. He's doing a nice job with this book. This is very much like a book that would have been maybe like a page about like 15 years ago.
Oh.
Like a whole issue would have been like one page. Like it just, there's a lot of bullshit in this comic. I'm sorry. Like I can't pretend like this is a great book. It's a lot of like characters I couldn't give a crap about doing nothing.
Well, is it possible they're just setting up?
Yeah. No, I mean like, but it's enough.
Enough setup?
You've had a year to set up. It's enough setup. All right. Like, how about anything else? Okay. So, let's talk about the art first.
Okay.
Michael Dowling's art is the kind of art that you would really want to see in a Jessica Jones book, or a book with a lot of talking in it. A lot of like regular human beings in it.
I kind of dig it.
I don't.
Okay.
I appreciate
But art is subjective.
right, and I appreciate that it is competent. Like it is telling the story. The artist is doing the best that artist is, capable of doing on a monthly book. So it's like there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it, right? Like if Daniel Warren Johnson drew this, I would appreciate the art, but also it would be completely tonally inconsistent and inappropriate for this title.
Right.
Right? Like across the board. Like, and I think that while this book, Dowling is actually a great fit for this issue because all it is human beings walking around and talking to each other.
Okay.
Which normally I would enjoy in a Spider-Man comic if it were characters that I cared a little bit about. Mary Jane is in it.
Okay.
And she does get to team up with Janine, which is kind of funny because like, hey, it's Ben Reilly's Redhead with Peter Parker's Redhead.
Right.
And I don't think Janine and Mary Jane ever interacted with each other, which would have been really fun to see explored. It isn't. But instead they team up and they get the like MacGuffin to the Daily Bugle. And most of the book is Maxine Danger wringing her hands and talking about how she's created the Goblin or the Queen Goblin. It's not the Goblin Queen. Because there's already a Goblin Queen.
Yeah. And she's back.
And
baby.
she's back, and she's way cooler than this. But basically, the Beyond Corporation is in the superhero making business, but actually they're not. They're actually in like they're competitors for damage control, and they create supervillains. And
well, you gotta make business. You gotta spend money to make money.
That's right. You gotta make villains to create heroes. But they take over Dr. Ashley Kafka and they whip her up into like being a goblin monster, and she's like being puppeted and controlled by the corporation, and she's there to destroy the Drive, and she's there to like punish Janine. Spider-Man Ben Reilly shows up and rescues her, and then uncharacteristically just like leaves the Queen Goblin alone with Mary Jane and just like bails. That's
what?
Yeah. I mean, so it's like it's a fun cliffhanger of a book.
He saves his girl. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
Done.
Yes. And
goodbye.
And he deliberately behaves uncharacteristically. So we're going to see like the exploration of that. And that'll be a lot of fun. And like Wells knows how to like write this to make it intriguing and to want to know more. But there's a lot of just like of Ben's handler and Max talking to each other and just dialogue circles. It's just like this. You didn't
Okay.
need this book. Like if you are looking to like read this story, or if you're like kind of half-heartedly interested in Amazing Spider-Man right now, I would read 89.
Right. And how does she become a goblin?
Because surgeries and stuff.
Didn't you say it was something about his sins?
Oh God, thank you for reminding me.
I was like, wait, hang on.
That's right. Okay, so you remember in like that Sin Eater story recently where Sin Eater had a magic shotgun that blew your sins out of your body and then like wiped you clean? Well, when they did that to Norman Osborn, those sins had to go somewhere, I guess. And the Beyond Corporation grabbed them, scooped them up, and made them into like a synthetic thing that she could drink or be infused into. So the Queen Goblin is actually Dr. Ashley Kafka infused with the sins of Norman Osborn. And it's like, I was reading Spider-Man comics where he was fighting an evil alien costume, which is very silly, but it's way less silly than this. Like that concept is just like, and okay, so like, I know that this is like silly, and I know that like it's a spider person, right? Like, I know it's comic books, but like, you can't constantly go like, comics, everybody, fart! Like, you can't just like have a measure of self-control.
Well, we'll see where this goes.
Why do I need to see where it goes
I don't
when it's
know.
always a bad idea?
I'm sorry. I know.
Like, why do I always have to be the one to sacrifice?
Hey, at least your character's alive.
For now.
Eh,
Yeah, he is alive. And I got a whole issue where he hung out with Captain America and Felicia, and that was a really fun issue. It's just
this
like
Beyond thing is only for now, right?
no, it has a very near termination point, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not what I would do.
Okay.
And like I said, like I don't think the art fits the story. I wish the story were something else.
Right. You're not saying the artist is bad.
No.
It's just not.
I don't think I would never see this artist on a Spider-Man book.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But this is barely a Spider-Man comic anymore. So, except it's
now.
also intrinsically a Spider-Man comic because like scooping up the sins of Norman Osborn and infecting them into like an established Spider-Man character and making them into a new red version of like a previously established character is like exactly what Spider-Man comics are.
It's funny that she's red too.
Gotta be red.
Why would it be green?
Because we've seen that already.
Oh. Okay.
By the way, Chris, thank you very much for your super chat. This says keep growing. You too, man. You too. Keep it up, man. You're doing great. By the way, nice video on the most recent drop. R. Jones, hi Sal and Tiffany, wanted to recommend Milestone Compendium 1, which dropped last week. Collects the first 10 issues of Hardware Static, Icon, and others from the 90s. Also, congrats on the 100K. Thank you very much, R. Jones.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, that book did come out. I didn't remember what week it was supposed to drop. I remember hearing about it and like not picking it up. But I will. Yeah.
All right.
The Captain Coon. Ben fights a goblin in the Daily Bugle and gets stabbed. Something about this feels familiar. Remembers the last time he fought a goblin at the Bugle. He who runs away and doesn't fight runs away first. Yeah, no, if you're not familiar with your history, Ben Reilly was killed by a goblin glider wielded by Norman Osborn on the roof of the Daily Bugle.
Oh.
And that could be what's happening here. Zeb Wells knows continuity. I don't know. But yeah, so those are all.
It's so funny seeing Ben, like the name Ben in
I
the
know,
chat.
because it's like, I was thinking my Ben.
Like, what? Oh, right.
Oh, right.
There are other Bens in the world of like reality and fiction.
It's true.
Not just ours.
No. But listen, there's so much more going on here at ComicPop Returns and over on youtube.com/ComicPop. We kind of did an unofficial Donnie-buary where Donnie Cates books are this month of February.
Is it all February?
It will not be. It's just the first 2 weeks. But since it's only 3 weeks in February, it's like maybe I should, but like we'll see. Probably not though. But there will be a new Donnie Cates book coming out on back issues. And then our Ben just showed up. There could be only one Ben. That's amazing. Thanks for watching, Ben. But yeah, so if you haven't already also watched it, like we hyped up earlier, Tom King came on Elseworlds Exchange, and it was a blast.
It is just such a good conversation. It's just fun. It's just a fun conversation.
Yeah.
So if you just want to like laugh,
yeah,
but like get some real insights, seriously, it's a worthwhile listen.
It's true. And not to be outdone, Jason Inman was on the show earlier.
Yes.
He's going to be back next
You
week.
guys also have a good rapport.
We do have a great rapport. Jason's great.
You guys didn't start your interview or your conversation with 2 minutes of each of you yelling at one another about predators.
No,
pirate predators.
yeah, we did not do that.
But that it's also a good conversation. It's
Thank
just
you.
The Tom King conversation had that.
That's true. Yeah, we do. Well, because King keeps making fun of my Predator pitch. Because
I
we
know.
like a while ago we talked about Predator,
I know.
and I pitched this great idea for like a Predator TV series where it's like each episode is like is between 35 and 45 minutes long, and it's just like Predator in different places. Predator in the Old West, Predator in feudal Japan, and the last one I suggested was Predator on a pirate ship. And he's like, Predator on a pirate ship, man. And I'm like, that's the coolest one because like, you know, it's a bottle thing. Like it's all contained in one episode in one location.
Yeah, so
Plus, like you've never seen that, and you
No,
never
it's
will.
true. So then Sal brought it up again as like they were joking about it.
Yep.
But it just starts. I think that really sets the tone for the whole
I think it's
conversation.
true,
It's
yeah.
just so much fun.
It
so
does.
much
It does.
fun.
Thank you. But not be outdone. I think Joshua Williamson's coming back. So soon enough. So we'll get to talk about Infinite Frontier and all that stuff as well.
That's exciting.
But yeah, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you especially to our super chatters.
Yeah.
Thanks for our special guests,
Wait, are we
Chris from
recommending
Comic Tropes.
books?
Yes, we're going to recommend some books right now.
Cool.
Okay, so this is a really light week for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Batman Catwoman Returns with number 10. Clayman is back. So we'll see how that goes. Yes, it is basically Pirates of the Pancreas. That's exactly what it is. The 10 Deaths of Wolverine number 2.
Yes.
I will recommend. While I can't recommend Bendis' Justice League, the cover is
Okay. I saw
awesome.
that cover and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
So that's it. Just like I'm not gonna read Justice League Annual number 1, 2022, but like that cover's dope. And I will throw out a shout out
What about
to
Devil's Reign?
Oh yeah, and Devil's Reign number 4. Which, you know, continuing the trend of this book being fun and cool. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to the Amazing Spider-Man number 88.bay.
Bay.
Because a friend of
Bay.
the show, Jeff Thorne, is writing it. And I'm like, I don't think I have read a Jeff Thorne Spider-Man book, so I've got to check it out.
Okay.
So yeah, plus Slingers.
Plus Bay.
Plus Bay. Plus them doing this thing I hate comic books doing.
Whatever.
If you believed in the book, call it a real book. Don't put dot anything.
I guess they're trying to keep it contained so it's easier to collect.
Is that easier to collect?
I don't know, man.
It is not. Spoilers, it isn't.
Okay.
What do you recommend?
I'm going to recommend Moon Knight number 8.
Yay. I got to go back and read all this book.
Just really enjoying this Moon Knight run, which is like a phrase I never thought I would say out loud, but I'm really enjoying this Moon Knight run. We'll see where it's going to be going next.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Jed McKay.
Yes.
I can't recall. I don't know who's on art right now because the last artist was different.
Yeah.
New Mutants number 24 coming out.
Yes.
I'm going to pick that up. No way I'm not. I'm going to pick up the Secret X-Men.
Yes, the Secret X-Men. Oh, no.
It's a secret. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Yes.
Because we're at a point where we're obviously going to be starting to get into some of those new titles for X-Men. So now's the time to jump on and see if there's something you like. This one's going to be written by Teenie Howard with art by Francesco
Mobili. Yeah.
I was like, there's so many I's and L's next to each other. My brain was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Justice for Marrow, by the way. Way to go.
I don't know. That might be it.
I think that's it.
I'm sure there's other things, but we're just kind of scrolling through quickly here. There's like no way there isn't something that I'm missing.
Yep. Tiffany found out Jenica exists, which I thought was hilarious.
I was like, what's a Jenica?
I'm like, oh.
That was literally me. That was very much me for
Yeah.
a moment. Again, I'm sure there's something else that I'm gonna be like, oh yeah.
Wait, watch me piss off the Turtles fan. She's Venus de Milo. But yeah, so we want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. I want to especially thank my amazing, intrepid co-host, Tiffany, for being here and making this show elevated. We do appreciate all of you guys, especially to our super chatters for sponsoring this episode. Thank you for the special guests of not only Chris from Comic Tropes, but also Ben from ComicPop for stopping by. If you want to help us out, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys next time on the new episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody.
Bye.